All right, my friends. How we doing? That's the monthly question. How we doing? Every month another story. We had good stories, I understand, too. I heard a couple of good things out there. Some people doing some nice things. Some people having birthdays. Some people having anniversaries. Some people having divorces. It's great out there. No, I just want to say hello and thanks again for making it out here. And without you, there's really no show. You know, we can bring all the entertainment in the world, but the energy level comes from you people, and that's what makes them want to come and perform here. So, and also the people out there in what they call TV land, or cable land, or whatever you want to call it now. You know, but long time. We're doing this some 30 some odd years, and the audience is still receptive. We're still running into people every time, and it's the greatest feeling in the world when they say, we saw your show, we love the show, we saw so-and-so, he's so great, this one's still performing, I never got a chance to see him. So if I can bring those people to you and make you happy for a little bit, then it's worth it for me. So we always do something about pet peeves, and I like to bring that subject up, but there's just so many things that we find wrong now in this world, the way things are going on. You can sit here all day long and I can give you 1,000,001 pet peeves, but we just have to take care of ourselves. Be careful, and everybody watch your own. If you take care of yourself and your family, it starts to mushroom, and everybody will be fine. We'll be fine. Country's going to be all right. And I don't want to get into a political thing right now, so that's not what this show is all about. But I just celebrated my 84th birthday, by the way. So. I guess I'm just starting. I'm starting to get a little too. Oh, jeez.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vito. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I wasn't actually a lead-in. I wasn't trying to get into that, but I just started to say that when you live to be this long, there is just so many things that you can talk about and things that happened in your life, and you start to reminisce, and it's a kind of scary thought because I talked to somebody the other day. They said, well, remember when we did it was like 16 years ago. I said, wow, 16 years ago. That's amazing. Now that went that fast. If I take that 16 years and I put it in front of me and it goes that fast, I'm going to be 100 years old in no time at all. You know, so it is a little scary, but I feel like I'm 25, other than the fact that, you get a couple of things once in a while that upset the apple cart, but I feel mentally that I'm 25 years old, and I guess that's the key. You people make me feel 25 every time we do a show and you're in the audience. And the response and the fact that you remember the songs and the lyrics and everything, that makes it so important. You're keeping me alive. I want to thank you. Never mind thanking me, okay? Thank you. God bless you people. I love it. Love you people. Thank you. Hey, we got an interesting guest today, and he's a longtime friend. He's had. You know what? I'm going to read a couple of these things because this is an amazing career. Talk about careers. This is another thing comes with the 84 years old is another pair of eyes, So we put these on to see so we can read. But we have half of the Santo and Johnny team. Santo and Johnny Farina brothers. They had a hit record in 1959 called Sleepwalk. Of course, you all know Sleepwalk. And that particular song has done things that no 50 song has done. And I'm going to read some of them. First of all, just some of the people that have covered that song. You're looking at Chet Atkins, Les Paul, Eric Clapton. These people have done this song, The Ventures. Al Caiola, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Al Cooper with Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He did it too. Carlos Santana covered this song. This just ends and ends and ends. It doesn't end here. Brian Setzer covered this song. Jeff Beck also covered this song. The only one I don't recognize here, Diana Ross did it also. She found lyrics to the song. They wrote lyrics because there was no lyrics when they did it, and they wound up doing it. The only name I don't recognize, and shame on me, I should really know more. The Letterman did it, but this particular group, I don't even know if they heard it. I don't even know if they heard themselves doing it because they're called the Deftones. So I mean, I mean, what a name. Why you pick the name the Deftones? I mean, that automatically tells you there's going to be something that's going to be right, you know? But they are in the Italian Hall of Fame. Italy has a Hall of Fame. The song is in the Italian Hall of Fame. It was, I don't know, 28 different movies. It was in just about every movie you can possibly think. It popped up. Commercials, it's endless. Especially mattress. It's perfect for a mattress commercial. You know, Sleepwalk is perfect. There's one going on right now. You know, today, I just heard one yesterday. You know, they received the gold record in 1959, and they did the Alan Freed show. They followed us into the Alan Freed, the Brooklyn Theater, when he used to do his 10-day shows. And they did, of course, they followed us into American Bandstand. We did that a couple of times. And then the one thing that they did not follow is I didn't do the Perry Como show. They did the Perry Como show. This song was unbelievable. I mean, it's endless. This is just a small little synopsis of the things that song has accomplished. Well, we have Johnny Farina here, the brother of half of the team, and Johnny's still working. We just worked together. Matter of fact, we did a thing. We did a couple of things in the movie in the theaters, but he did a great job with a show we did in Eisenhower Park with about 8,000 people in the park. And he blew them away with this thing, and he does a lot of the instrumentals. What he's able to do, he now does TV themes, you know, things that you can identify with when you hear it. So instrumentals. So he's built a nice little career with something, you know, with a Hawaiian guitar, no less. A steel guitar, Hawaiian guitar. Call it Hawaiian guitar, but a lot of country people use this too. So it's going to be interesting. Johnny Farina is going to be here today. So we're going to look for Johnny. He's going to be here. And we're going to go, we're going to try and do, we have dancers out there. I always ask that question because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. Do we have at least 3 couples at least?
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, we'll get some.
Yeah. All right. The first song is an interesting song. It was done by the Capris. My friend, the late, Nicky Santo, his real name was Santa Maria, but Nicky Santo, when he did an album in the '80s, and we were all asked to do this specific album, and he did an ambient sound album, and he wrote a song specifically, and they used it in that album. The song jumped out of the album, and then people heard it, became a big doo-wop favorite, and then Manhattan Transfer covered it, and it became a monstrous hit. So we've had a couple of the guys on here. We've had the Capris on here numerous times, and then we also had Tommy Ferrara, who's a very close friend and grew up together. His grandfather had a house in South Beach right behind my house, so we grew up together from 13 years old. But Tommy is the intro to this particular song. He was the bass vocalist. Then we're going to do Morse Code of Love. So if we can get a couple of couples up here, we'll dance to Morse Code of Love by the Capris. Okay? Yeah, bring them on up. We'll bring them up now, and we'll get right into it.
Asking to ding dong man, begging her to come back home to me. Oh, I got a D eyes and a crystal teeth, and I think it's pretty. Honey, come back home to me. Baby, I want your love. Baby, I need your love. Honey, come back home to me. Got to have your love. Can't live without your love. Honey, come back home to me. Oh, mistakes, yes, that is true, but the biggest one I made of you. Honey, come back home to me. I thought that you would understand. I'm not a one-woman man, not anymore, so come back home to me. Baby, I want your love. Honey, I need your love. Baby, come back home to me.
rain keeps stopping, there ain't no stopping. Tell me how long will this rain last? Trickle, trickle, stop, stop. Just got to see her sweet little drop. She's there waiting and I'm hesitating, wondering just when this rain will stop.
Ronnie, dig my clothes, yeah, boy. One button low. Well, you know I'm sharp as a tack. Say, lend me your Cadillac. Gotta go to the party, yeah. Please lend me your shirt. Well, if you can't take it, you know can't make it. I won't see my baby no more.
Trickle, trickle, splash, splash. Tell me how long will this rain last? The rain keeps stopping, there ain't no stopping. Tell me how long will this rain last? Trickle, trickle, stop, stop. Just got to see my sweet little drop. She's there waiting and I'm hesitating, wondering just when this rain will stop.
Ronnie, she's sweet, she's fine, yeah, boy. And I love her so. Well, if I don't make this party, man, she's sure to blow. Gotta go to the party, yeah. Please lend me your shirt. Well, if I can't take it, you know can't make it. I won't see my baby no more.
Trickle, trickle, splash, splash. Tell me how long will this rain last? The rain keeps stopping, there ain't no stopping. Tell me how long will this rain last? Trickle, trickle, stop, stop. Tell me just when this rain will stop. The rain keeps stopping, there ain't no stopping. Tell me how long will this rain last? Tell me how long will it last?
Anyway, let's get down to what we're here about, okay? We're here, as I mentioned, and they ran a whole big thing, but I want to get them up here so we can talk about some other things. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause. My good friend, Johnny Farina. Let's hear him. Johnny.
I come and say hello.
That's all right.
I come and say hello.
Yeah. We can't even get up anymore.
That's all right. It's okay.
Okay, John, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do the flip side of Sleepwalk. It was called All Night Diner. Change that arrangement a little. Okay. The next song everybody knows, Sleepwalk. You know, without the song, I wouldn't be here tonight. And I have to thank my father. He was the one that inspired my brother and I to play this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's hear it, everybody. Come on. Big round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll say it today. Sit down, John.
So nice to be here. Thank you for
Nice to be
having me
anywhere.
here.
You took a trip from Long Island at rush hour,
Yeah,
no
it
less.
was a long walk, let me tell you.
A sleepwalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, welcome. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, we're talking about Johnny Maestro, and
Yeah.
you know, you were mentioning the fact that he's done our show 3 times before, and today is the day. It's
Right.
it's his anniversary. Why don't you give a little rundown on him? And because earlier we were talking about it, but now we'd like everybody out there to hear your relationship with him.
He needed a room to sleep in. Things were different down south than it was here. I wasn't accustomed to what was going on down there, and so he needed a room to stay in, and he stayed with us. And then, before you know it, at first I really didn't like him because he was so quiet.
Yeah.
I thought he was conceited, but he wasn't. He's just that way. But then I got to know him, and we started to do crazy things together, and we just had a wonderful time. We always knew how to eat well. We always made sure we'd find the right restaurants to eat at, And then one time we even went to Italy together, and we went to Italy, and the first thing Johnny wanted was Italian bread. He said, "You think we can get Italian bread?" I said, "This is it. This is where you get the Italian bread." And then so he wanted supersada.
Yeah.
I said, "Of all things, supersada." I said, "We can eat the finest dishes. I want a supersada sandwich." So we had this big supersada sandwich in the room, and we got a big bottle of wine with the straw on it, like the basket, and we're drinking in the room, and we're feeling good, and then. It was late when we got there, so we had that, and then before you know it, I didn't know what he did with the wine. And in Italy, they have these blind shades. They're made of wood, and you close it down. The room it could be bright out, but it's dark in the room. But what Johnny did was he tied the bottle of wine to the shade, right. So, and then he lowered it, I guess, or he had to lower it. But then woke up in the morning, he was still sleeping. I went downstairs, I'm talking to the manager of the hotel, and I hear people yelling outside that they said people are throwing wine bottles off the roof. What happened was it went up and broke the line, and he didn't know what was going on, But I thought it was a funny story. And then we go to eat, and then over there they have like one little dish of macaroni, and and he wanted 3 dishes of macaroni. The cook came out and said, "How's it possible these guys eat so much?" I mean, it's crazy things like that we did.
That's what makes life. The fact that we have little things that nobody else can share with you. It's just
Absolutely.
the personal things. Johnny and I met when we were 14 years old, and he was dancing around with his act, and I had a group called the Crescents before we had the Elegance.
Yeah.
And we used to do things down at the Edgies. They call it the Edgies. It was the Educated Alliance building, downtown New York on East Broadway and Clinton and East Broadway. But and down in that basement we used to do a lot of singing and everything. And I just knew that he was destined to be bigger than just about anybody else. God works in mysterious ways. As teenagers, we never went to vocal coaches or anything like that.
Right.
You went on the corner, you sang, you had a good time, boom. So everybody did what they did without training.
Right.
And then years later, if you didn't have the right training, you started to lose your voice.
Right.
But he never had the training in the beginning. But for some reason, God gave him the talent to do it, breathe from his diaphragm, do everything right, use his voice as an instrument, and he, until, God forbid, the day that he passed away, he still had his lungs.
Yeah, he was very disciplined. He would vocalize every day. He would do that. So
He wouldn't talk to anybody. So backstage, we would all be in the green room, everybody be talking and kidding around, eating in a corner, read a book and drink, and having Hall's cough drops, 100 of them at a time. And everybody said, he's so conceited. The guy's got no personality.
Yeah, but he wasn't like that.
Of course not. Of course
He was a good man. And
So anyway, what about you at this point? What was your I would say out of all the things that I read here, and there's a number of things, what was the most inspiring? What was the best thing that you ever remembered from the '59 era?
I think the first time I heard Sleepwalk
On the radio?
on the radio, it was funny because I was down Coney Island. I had no money, you know, and I forgot how much it was to get on the train. 20 cents. It was cheap at that time, a quarter, whatever it was. And I never forgot. I'm walking down the block, and there was the place where they have the whip, you know, the kids there. Yeah. And apparently a whale had washed up on the shore. And only in Brooklyn, somebody would think, oh, I'm going to make money on this. So they get the whale, and they put them, do you remember? I don't know if you remember. There was a big whale there. And I wanted to see that whale. So I'm looking in to see if I have any money, and all of a sudden, Sleepwalk goes on where the whip was. I said, wow, I'm famous. You know, I'm really famous. I hear my record on the radio, right? So now I'm looking in my pocket. Oh, I have that quarter to get on that train or something to get home. And I wanted to go see the whale. So I said, I'll go back tomorrow. But the whale caught on fire.
Oh, geez.
They must have torched it. They weren't making any money, so they burnt down the... I said, oh, man. And then I remember when Alan Freed broke it in New York. You know, that was something that I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then...
If you did the '59, you did the Brooklyn Fox, not the Paramount.
The Fox, yeah.
Because he left the Paramount after his first one.
Right.
And then we did his fourth one at the Brooklyn Fox. From that point on, it was always the Fox.
Yeah.
Now, you know that whale story? If a whale would have landed in South Beach, my old neighborhood, would have been in the gravy that Sunday.
Mink, everything, right?
They would have put it right in the pot.
Everything goes in the sauce.
Right in the pot, that thing was going.
That's probably, it might be good because it's got the oil.
That's where it went. Oh, God.
Yeah. And then, you know, things in life that happened, you know, especially doing the Perry Como show, we met Caterina Valente, and she was doing her show in Italy, and she said that you guys have a super hit in Italy. Why don't you come be my guest? So we did Ride TV. Before you know, we signed to an Italian label. We did like over 30-something albums, and we did all the James Bond tracks, you know, like Goldfinger, Thunderball. Sure. We had hit after hit. We owned Italy, so I wasn't working here. Yeah. Meanwhile, Johnny would say, you know, we do oldie shows. I said, yeah. Well, I don't do that. We do something over there, you know. And so I wasn't aware that oldie shows were starting here. And so, you know, it was something different. And then we hit in Mexico with #1 And I Love Her, the Beatles song. Right. And then they actually thought that the Beatles copied us because we had distribution from the Italian label. Right. And they didn't. So when they went there, they thought the Beatles copied us. You know, I tried to straighten out the story. I said, no, man, they didn't copy us, you know.
Well, you know, John Lennon gave you credit for Free as a Bird when he did. So that was the inspiration for him. Yeah. You know, to write Free as a Bird. Yeah. And so did the Fleetwood Mac. Right. You know, they said Albatross, you know, was inspired by, you know, by Sleepwalk.
Yeah, and I didn't know that George Harrison, he had wrote a song called Mawa Blues because of Teardrop, our second song, and it's in his liner notes, and it's really an honor to be on it, you know, recognized by so many great artists. You know?
I don't hear Harrison's when my guitar. What is it? My guitar gently sleeps. Yeah. You know, gently weeps.
It's a great song, right?
Oh, and I don't. Every time I hear that, I hear Sleepwalk. Yeah. You know, I'm almost positive that that's the inspiration.
He was, because if you listen to his guitar playing, he's got a lot of that slide in there. You know.
When my guitar gently weeps.
Yeah. He was an amazing man. I never got to meet him. I didn't know we inspired him because I would have tried to get. Because Johnny's brother's wife worked in the ward down here, you know, I could have came. But
George, unfortunately, George was here on Staten Island at the hospital. Yeah, this is where he was on his last days, was at Staten Island Hospital, and you know, but it's such a great feeling, like you said. I know that people took something that you did and took it to another level, you know.
Yeah, I have to owe this to my father. I mean, he was the one that inspired my brother and I with that instrument. Like, we were two guys in Brooklyn, and all they had was mandolins and regular guitars, you know, and accordions, right? Accordions. And you know, my father was so inspired by the sound.
Wow.
And he wrote home to my mother. He said, you know, they have to learn how to play this beautiful instrument, you know.
Wow.
And you try to get lessons in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you know,
on a Hawaiian guitar.
So we go to Court Street in Brooklyn, you know, if you're familiar with it. Anyway, we go to Court Street and there's an Italian lady, so, you know, like, gumada, you know, everybody's a gumadas in those days, you know. And yeah, my husband, he a teacher, you know, Hawaiian, but he didn't. He was going to give lessons. The guy was wearing spats. I never saw him, you know. But the guy didn't know how to do it. And
what was your father was born here or was born in Italy?
he was born in Sicily. He came over when he was 9.
Oh,
but he had no accent. My mom was a little baby when she came over. So they had no accent. They would speak Italian only when they didn't want us to understand, you know?
Yeah,
and then I'd go to see my grandmother, and she really, I mean, everything, she didn't really speak Italian. So when I went to Milan, I was saying, the first time in '62, I was saying some of the words that they're looking at me like, what's this guy talking about, you know? And I started to realize when she said, Ubakhaus, the back house, right? And even like some of the curses that I knew, I was trying to use them there. They didn't know what I was saying. Oh, you mean you want to say, I said, totally different. So I started to learn some Milanese, you know?
The dialect is very difficult. I got called, Martin Scorsese called me to teach De Niro and Pesci how to speak Sicilian in The Irishman, the last movie that I was in was The Irishman. And that's what it was. They wanted New York dialect. It was Sicilian, but they wanted the Sicilian with the New York dialect.
Right.
And on Facebook now, I don't know how it came up, because every once in a while it pops up. There's a young guy and a young girl, and they actually show you what the difference is between the original Italian, you know, what we call High Italian, and the other one was, you know, Sicilian. And I'm saying to myself, I never heard this word before. I always heard this. I never heard that, you know.
Right.
And I love when people, once the yuppies, I think, when the yuppies started, they come up with yuppies when things were, at one point, they started having pasta. Everybody had pasta. I never had pasta.
Macaroni.
I had macaroni.
Right.
I don't know what pasta was, you know. Pasta, unless it was pasta fazool. Then it was pasta.
Right, and it was always sauce. We had sauce, not gravy. Was brown to us.
I always had gravy. Never had sauce. Actually, I've said this before on TV. What my grandmother taught me years ago: marinara is sauce. Pizza has sauce. The minute you put meat in the pot and you cook it with the sauce, it becomes gravy. Now, there's red gravy. Of course, there's brown gravy for mashed potatoes and roast beef and everything. But it's gravy. That's a war. If you go on Facebook and you put sauce, 10,000 people will tell you it's called gravy. You put gravy, 20,000 will tell you it's sauce.
Absolutely.
We did a concert. We do it every year, the Italian Festival in Jersey. And there's a stand. And the guy's name of the stand is It's Gravy, Not Sauce.
Right.
That's the name of his company.
Oh, really?
And he's got everything from pot holders to pants to hats. You know, it's gravy, not sauce.
That's kind of cool, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, I didn't know I was American until I was 60.
Right. Well,
well, everything was American. They're American. They don't know anything.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's just funny growing up that way, you know?
We talk about it all the time. My old neighborhood was 100% Italian. I mean, maybe you had one or two, and it used to be on the other side of the tracks. That's an expression everybody said. But actually, the truth was, on the other side of the tracks in South Beach was about 10 or 15 Irish families. But they were on the other side of the tracks. You know, so I didn't know anything but Italian. My father passed away 30 years old at a young age. Some disease, Bright's disease, which was a kidney disorder. And my mother refused to go on welfare. She went right to work. And we moved in with my grandparents. They only spoke Italian. So I spoke Sicilian before I spoke English.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it came in handy a couple of times, especially when Marty wanted
when he
wanted me to do it. We did a couple of things recently. Matter of fact, we're going to be working together. I don't have my schedule.
In April, I think.
Is that what it is? In April?
Yeah, I think in Jersey,
Oh, okay. We're at the Manahawkin.
I've never been there.
It's nice. It's a Stafford Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
It's a beautiful little theater. A lot of adult communities ring it, you know, so, matter of fact, I think they've pretty much sold out already.
Really?
I was talking to them yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And The one was fun. Was the one we did together in Eisenhower Park. I mean, 8,000 people out there that day.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, but it's fun. I mean, I love working with you too. So it gives,
It's different. It's a totally different contrast.
Absolutely, don't have 15 guys doing this. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So you're bringing something to the table that hasn't been around. So
Thank you.
Even though you are working, I mean, you've been working, but in the area that we are now, in the market that we're in,
Yeah.
it's screaming for something a little different. So,
But I don't know if they don't really. I don't know. For some reason, there's no instrumental acts working,
No,
and you would
no.
think I'd be the only ones. They'd be knocking down my doors. But yet I do venues like I do festivals in Italy, in
Yeah,
France,
yeah.
Spain. And then I just got back from LA. I did some, but they were all Chicanos. Like 7,000, 8,000 people, and I could play things like Europa.
Yeah.
And they know, of course, Sleepwalk from La Bamba.
Well, you built a career there, and when you did that, you left the career out here alone. So now when you come here, you're basically starting all over again.
It is,
almost,
yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm starting
we do a lot of things with Peggy Marsh, little Peggy Marsh.
I like her.
And
She's nice.
I will follow him.
Yeah,
She's Elvis Presley in Germany.
I know. She
She's
was huge in Germany.
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. And she comes here, and there's not that much work because
Right.
while she was building a career there, she lost track, of the momentum in the United States.
Absolutely.
But hey, it happens. It happens.
It is. I think things are meant to be. Whatever it's supposed to be. Whatever happens, happens. There's always movies and commercials. using
Nah,
the song.
there's every time I turn on the television, there's another commercial with Sleepwalk.
Yeah.
I mean, and the movie, that one big movie you had was what was the one with Tom Hanks, Sleeping in Seattle, or
No,
what was it? Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepwalkers was a big one with just.
I know it was
What
in
about
that.
the Monsters?
That was the first one that I really heard, the big one.
And there was La Bamba, of course.
La Bamba.
The Irishman, they used it twice in The Irishman.
Yes.
And then they used it in Priscilla. Matter of fact, I was on that cruise.
Yeah.
And so
Mold Shop.
on the Mold Shop cruise, and I just finished Sleepwalk, and then Priscilla came up. And I knew that she was, she had a show, but
Yeah.
I didn't say it because she was there. I was just saying that the last two movies was The Irishman and Priscilla. Before you know it, she comes up there and gives me a kiss. I said, all right, this could be good.
Priscilla Presley. That's right. Not a
So
bad.
it was kind of a nice tribute that she came up, and she was happy.
Could have been Lassie. Then you don't want to see the movie Lassie. Have a dog kiss you.
Yeah.
That's it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun right now. I mean, thank God, the checks are still coming in.
Absolutely.
That it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, and it's something that we did make our mark. It doesn't matter what comes along in the future, because whatever comes along in the future, it makes money quick.
Yeah.
Crazy money, but it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a mark.
Right.
What we did, we made the mark.
That's it. Absolutely.
And 200 years down the road, there'll be somebody looking in history or something and say, "Wow, who did that song?"
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Hey, it's proof right here.
Yeah.
60 some odd years now, they still know the song. They still dance to the song. I don't even remember some of the songs though. When they give the awards at the Grammys today, I couldn't even tell you what songs they are.
No.
The songs hit, they run, they're gone, and it's over.
Right.
So hey, look, we're having fun. That's what it's all about too.
And you get to see everybody that we grew up with. I mean, how many friends that we made backstage? Those Alan Freed shows, they were marathons, right?
10 days. How about the buses for 30 days without
And
sleeping?
they always broke on.
Always broke down.
At 40 miles, get out, unload the stuff, put the recap on. Remember, they only used recap, and they were school buses, I think.
Yeah. We hit a deer one time, and the radiator, it busted the radiator, it overheated, and we were stuck on some mountain someplace, and Dion and I were hugging each other to stay warm in the bus.
Yeah.
We almost got engaged by the time the bus, by the time it was there, but, it's great.
Yeah.
But the fans, they're so real. And look at this here, for instance. Virginia.
And they always bring you gifts. That's another
This
thing.
is it. Virginia Orlando did this, and she had everybody out there wish me a happy birthday and send it. It's a whole album here
Right.
of pictures that I even forgot that I took. Some I'm sorry I took. So, you know, some I shouldn't have took, but they're all in here, and you know, and thank you. I want to thank everybody out there for signing this too. By the way, a great job, Virginia. Thank you so much. Thank you. And even this, we just got off the stage a day ago, and there it is, framed, pictured, typed, everything. You know, amazing. This is why we do it. That's why I do it.
It's real.
These people are so incredible.
Yeah, people that grew up with this as part. We became part
Family.
of
Yeah,
their.
that's
We're in their DNA, actually.
Absolutely.
And they can't help hearing a song and they say and relate where they were, what happened when they heard that.
Absolutely,
song,
absolutely.
You know,
They remember exactly where they were when they heard the record, like you did. You heard, you brought up a whale.
Yeah,
you know?
I wanted to see that whale, man.
You heard a song reminds you of the whale now.
Yeah, but it's just ironic how you can go through life and but you don't know what's going to happen next. You just don't know what's going to happen next. So
that's why I said let's just have fun.
Yeah.
You know, take one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the shows and the things we did, and the shows are still going on here and there. Anybody out there? I know usually ask this question every show. Anybody out there have been to a show recently that you want to talk about, or something that you've seen? Yeah, there's one back there. We've got. Okay, Carl.
Hey, Vito. I'm actually a March baby also. I was only 66. But if I could be as cool as you when I become your age, I'll say that's a blessing because you are one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh, thank you.
We just seen you this past weekend. We seen you, Johnny Scopoletti, any reactions? Vinny, the Chicklets, and the Brooklyn Bridge. And my friend Ed Gaudio is the new lead singer of the Brooklyn Bridge. So, and Bobby Brooks Wilson also, who is unbelievable. He made me tired. I want that oxygen when he got done. He's incredible. I just wanted to, you talk about gripes. I just wanted to bring one thing up, and it's near and dear to Johnny. A couple of us got together, and we called ourselves Team Maestro. Mary Jane Froese, Karen Sayers, Vinny and Lisa Tutelamundo, Ronnie, Johnny's brother, myself, my wife. We got a street sign done for Johnny out here in Staten Island called Johnny Maestro A. Mason Middle. And I had the honor of meeting Mr. Farina at the luncheon right after that. There was some woman touting that she was the one that did the street sign. People are so unbelievably petty about
You know the irony of what you're saying? He drove in today, and for some reason, they took a shortcut. Instead of staying on the expressway, they came through Capodanno Boulevard on the day, of course, of the anniversary of Johnny's passing. He passes the street and sees the sign. He couldn't believe it. He said, "Oh my God!"
I saw Johnny's brother's house.
Yeah.
And I remember that day they were worried about, so many people were going to show up and there would be a fight. And I said, Mary J said, there's people with walkers and canes. Yeah. And don't you remember when we went to pull the sign down, the string broke and we had to use a cane to slide the cardboard off the sign.
Absolutely.
And stuff. But,
that's
absolutely.
great.
But, Vito, happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Same to you coming up. Thank you. Anybody else, Sal?
Me.
Hey, Lil.
Me. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations on the show Saturday night.
Thank you.
A real congratulations has to go to Al Simone because especially since I'm doing these little shows, what I saw this man do, I have to say, you are amazing. Totally amazing. So I just want to say that was a great show. Everybody had a fabulous time.
I just want to announce the show you guys are going to be on together.
Yep.
I went to for Gary Fuchs. It's his show.
Yep.
At the Manahawkin Stafford Arts Center.
Stafford Performing Arts.
Performing Arts in Manahawkin.
Right.
April 27th. It's a Sunday, 3 o'clock. Johnny Farina, the man. Vito Picone, the Elegance. The Duprees. Lala Brooks. And the Shadows of the 60s are going to do a tribute to the Motown and the Temptations.
Beautiful.
It's going to be a great show.
Beautiful.
I know it's a little bit far away, but it's worth the trip. For these two guys right here. So, all righty?
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it? We good? All right. That's like I said, they do go out, they do see the shows, and this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And they keep coming, we keep singing, they playing. Can't see singing, you keep playing. You did one night, we did a show, I forgot which show we did together, about a year or so, maybe a little over a year ago, 2 years maybe. And you did Rebel Rouser by Dwayne Eddy.
Oh yeah, with Mary
And you
Beth.
did it with Mary Beth was
Yeah.
on sax.
Yeah.
And that thing, I mean, it rocked the whole house.
Yeah.
And I actually took it. I got it on film.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Maybe you can send it to me.
I'll get it to you, absolutely. And I sent it to Dwayne Eddy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he was thrilled to death. You know, I told him, I said, just saw this, blah blah blah, and it was right before he passed away. So
He was a nice guy. A story about Dwayne. Dwayne and I went to Australia in '59, and it was a rock and roll tour, and the Diamonds were on it too. Okay, and Johnny Bastillo. I think some other people, and. But it was funny because we were on one of those planes that they had, I forgot what plane it was, but they had so many problems. They always caught fire, the engines and everything, you know. So before we got on the plane, that day, rather the day before, we went around and they were selling different things. And Dwayne bought a bag of opals, okay? And I wanted a kangaroo skin, and I still have it. So I had called Dwayne, I don't know, several years ago. I said, Dwayne, do you still have those
opals?
Opals. He still had them, okay? Anyway, so now we get on the plane, and this plane was notorious for catching fire, really. And so it takes off, and it's taken off. Before it takes off, it's sort of smoking at the, on the runway. But we went off. And so I'm looking out the window, and meanwhile, there's one of the guys from one of the groups, I won't say, and he's boasting about his conquest the night before. All right, and he's saying, oh yeah, he's like this. And all of a sudden, so we're going, and the plane starts taking off, and there's 4 engines on the plane, right? So it's going like this. And the one on my side smokes, and then the guy flares it out. And I call the steward, the plane's on fire. No, the captain says, don't be alarmed. We have 3 other engines. This plane could fly actually on one once we're airborne. I said, I hope not. We lost 2 engines on that plane. But when that second engine went out, the guy that was really boasting, he gets on his knees. He's saying, I'm never going to do that again. But it reminded me of that Burt Lancaster movie, right? I mean, that was prior to Burt Lancaster. Hey, I'm never going to do that again. Jesus, I'll go to church every day. The plane's getting to him. As soon as he hears, well, I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
that was with Dom DeLuise.
That
movie when he was out in the ocean.
It's just funny stories that could happen, you know, and it's just I wouldn't trade it for anything. We had a life that really wasn't about the money. It was about just going out there and doing it.
Never even thought of how much money. I never even asked how much I was getting.
We just get it. It's just like now. You just want to do it.
Yeah. We were on one bus, Dion and the Belmonts, Frankie Avalon, Jimmy Clanton, Bobby Freeman, the Coasters, the Cadillac. We were all in one bus together for 30 days and 30 nights. Buddy Holly, you became family in that 30 days.
And you had to like each other. It would smell. Let me tell you, I used to have those little things hanging around.
The clothes. We had our clothes that you just were on stage sweating. Now you had them hanging in the back room. Or in the back room, it was like the last 2 seats. That was the closet. Instrument. I got a letter. I just found it when my mother passed away a couple of years ago. I found a bunch of letters that I had mailed her. And one particular letter, dear Mom, we're on a boat, we're traveling, and then there's a big line like this. And then I start again. Ma, I just got hit on the head with a saxophone case. The case came off the top, knocked me cold, knocked me out. But I still got the letter. It still says it right there.
Wow. Those are memories, golden memories, man.
And like you said, the conquest or things like that. Look, it's like I said, the memories are worth it. It was worth every minute. I wouldn't change anything. I would probably take advantage of the opportunity musically. What I know musically now, I wish I knew when I was 16, 17 years old. But I wouldn't change any of the fun, any of the times, any of the friends. We're still close friends. I talk to Dion all the time, and he's recorded Little Star a couple of times, and put it in a couple of his samples and a couple of his,
Oh,
his
nice.
things. He's always there. He's been really a good friend.
Good.
He did, and I tell the story 1,000 times because I'm so proud of it. He did a concert, and in the middle of the concert, I went to see him, and he said, I say, thank God every day for Vito being in his life, you know, and to me that
is,
it means a lot. It means
does.
a lot.
It's really because that's what we have to hold on to.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. So we've done this show over 30 years, and sometimes when I'm doing an interview, I got to try and pull the words out of the guests. You know, they're not used to it, or they're panicking. You know, and they don't know what to say, or if they do it, they just answer it quickly, and then you got to start another conversation.
Okay.
This was comfortable. You made it easy.
Oh, thank you.
I enjoyed every second of
Thank
it.
you.
You know?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't
thank
thank
you for
you.
having me.
I
on
can't
the
thank
show.
you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, you gotta catch the show. You know, no matter where, who's on it, if it's within driving distance, if you see his name up there, just tell him you remember from the show. You know, just say hello that way.
Yeah.
But you will be totally entertained. This is a little difficult. He's working with a track, you know, but when he's got a band behind him and this thing starts to rock, he would never believe a Hawaiian guitar could do what this thing does, and it doesn't do it without him behind it. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
no. You know, I just want to, you know, I always say the same thing on with the show. It really doesn't work unless we have an audience here. Even though we're streaming, we're on YouTube, we still have over 80,000 just on Staten Island viewers alone. But the show now is taken off to a whole different level. So, but even with all those people and all the fans, and I thank them 1,000 times, I would not be able to get the feeling and the real down home feeling if it wasn't for the
Absolutely.
same people that are out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is family to me. This is what it's all about. I come here for them, believe it or not, and I love it. I love it. Thank you guys. Thank you. You know. So, hey, that's us. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Until tomorrow then.